Right,
Okay.
hello. My name is Miriam van der Valk, and I'm a philosopher from Sweden. And today I'm talking to Josef who is a psychologist and healer from Sweden, and Dyonne, who is a healer from Holland. So our constant topic is personal development and this drive to evolve as a person. And today we have a terrifying topic. We want to talk about self-pity. But a bit of background. So it started with our last conversation that we didn't record, but Josef wanted to talk about fear of sadness and how we don't want to feel certain feelings. And this led to a conversation about the difference between sadness and grief. And I said something about Freud and this mourning and melancholia that I can talk about later. These distinctions about the kind of loss that you're trying to get over. And from there, we sort of we decided that this self-pity. What is self-pity? It's very the interesting thing for me is that I have just felt very sorry for myself for a few days, and I hate feeling sorry for myself. It's so and the reason I hate it is because it's not the ethical thing to do. I know I shouldn't do it, and yet I still spiral down in this. It's so unfair. It's only me. I'm the only one who. Blah, 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 blah. I wanted so much, and now I don't get what I want. I need. I don't get what I need. You know? Yeah. Who wants to start? Josef?
Okay, I can start here.
Yeah.
It's I think one of the most important things for us just right now is self-love and to love ourselves, because we are actually lacking this. We are this, we'll call it self-compassion. I don't know, but I think that's a big need for us, and we should not be not give us this self-love, because we are worthy of it, and sometimes we don't feel like that, so we go into the self-pity, and it's and it seems like self-love, but it's not.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like it's self-love, it's not, but you want everybody else to love you. and think of that you are actually, well, they feel they should also feel sorry for you, and that puts you back into some kind of a cage. You're putting yourself down. And also when other people pity you, they also put yourself down, and they put themselves up. And some people love that you are the small one, and and this is a vicious circle of you being of the pity, of saying, well, I am down, and people love me because I'm so unfortunate, and it's this is a way. There's a need for love, but from others. But you also have a need. You have to feel it, your own love for yourself, which is the most important thing. You this is because you're worth it. Sometimes when the pity is maybe you're not worthy of your own love, you need it from someone else. It's a trap. So that's part of what I'm going to talk about. And well, it's not so easy. And I've done the same. It's I've been confused by the self-pity and self-love, and I haven't given myself too much self-love because I thought that it's also self-pity, and thought that this is something that I really despise. Yes, I despise the pity, and I'm trying not to have it. So I also cut off the love of myself. So I think it's an important part of saying, well, why not? We are worthy of it. We are very good people. We should love ourselves. This is how we can manage also in this world that is so crazy around us. Uh, is is uh, is so crazy with all these kind of stupid things that goes on, and you have to have all these kind of shots. Otherwise, you don't get a free ride or possibility to go out overseas or to go. It's this is crazy things, you know. But you can say, yeah, it's crazy, but I still can love myself, you know, not feel pity about that. I think so. That's my. This is how I think I survive in this world of. I can feel sad about that, but that's how I can survive. Is yeah, there's enough love for myself, and also I'm connecting this because yesterday I heard somebody talk. He's called Zach Bush, an American, and he was talking about the epigeneity that you have to that's something that we as person have to develop very much in this world is the possibility for ourselves, the genes in ourselves to change in order to with love, because epigeneity is the way for the genes in ourselves to change, to be, and the love of yourself is making that possible. So there is an epigenetic, and that's a very important part of the development of the persons. That's what I think. I heard him, and I think it's very important.
There's
Not
a lot
getting stuck in the old things, you know, but there is an epigeneity because we are changing. We are. Let ourselves be there, you know. We are, and we have to change in to survive in this world. So it's not only stuck. We are not stuck in old things. There is something new that is happening. Yes, even in this pandemic and all these kind of things, there is possibility for us to change, not to feel sorry for the old things, you know, in us, but there is some new things that is happening. That's how I don't know how to explain that, but that's how I feel. It's the way it is right now. You know, it's the epigene is story is a very important one, and that doesn't come from self-pity, but from love of yourself, the self-compassion.
But what's the thing then that I mean, the unrecorded talk that we had last week was you started indeed with the topic fear of sadness.
Yes.
And when we look at this with the pandemic, there's also a fear of change.
Yes.
Doesn't matter which direction, but in general, there's a fear of change. And can you say something about what you believe is at the bottom of this, which is a universal thing, that there's always this fear of change, fear of sadness, maybe even fear of loving ourselves as an entire being. Even there is a fear. I mean, it seems as if we're not capable, but maybe we are capable, but maybe we fear it too much.
Yeah, I can. The only thing, or the thing that I go back to, is partly also the theme of how you call it, the Exodus, which is part of this kind of the leaving from slavery into something new. You know, most of the people actually in this leaving of the people, they wanted to go back to the slavery. They wanted, they didn't want change.
Yeah, but sorry, that's not what. That's also very important to see, But if I can make a bridge from the collective to the individual, what I actually was about to look for, the point that I want to make is what happens within a human being that we keep on losing track of what the work is that's supposed to be done. And what I mean with that is, last time I brought in the conversation, the unrecorded one, Carla McLaren. For instance, what I first give that example again, and then I go back to the point that I want to make. Carla McLaren addresses emotional language, and that all emotions carry a message. Yes. And it is for us to not avoid our emotional turmoil or the ways we are touched and moved, but to explore those emotions. She mentioned, when you look at sadness, the one you came with last week,
yes.
When you look at sadness, that sadness actually consists of the component that a sense of sadness is based on, we have expectations towards something or someone, and when those expectations are not met in our internal system, we reach a state of sadness.
Yes.
But when we don't address that sadness, sadness keeps us stuck. But if we look at what the sadness consists of, like, are we mourning something? What are we missing? What was our expectation? For instance, if someone didn't call you for weeks and they were supposed to call you, there's an expectation, it's not met, you're sad about it, you're disappointment,
yes.
You're disappointed. But
yes.
what is in there, and can you move through it? Can you look it in the eye? Can you move through it? Because then when you do so, you learn something about it and you can grieve it. With a not attended phone call, it's an easy thing, but when it's a big thing, we have a bigger thing to mourn. But the thing is, and that's the point I wanted to make, when you look at the mind and the soul or the spirit, our mind tends to keep us stuck in those emotions that we experience, the superficial emotions. However, to mature and to have how do you say, emotional development, how to evolve for ourselves, we need to learn to work with these emotions. We need to work through them, understand them, for ourselves to experience emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, emotional development, if you wish. And there's this innate thing within a human being that there's always the how do you say, the discrepancy between how the mind keeps us in sorrowing and suffering, and how we actually need to move through that and do what's healing for the soul. Healing is true grief. Healing is really working through something. Yes. But the mind keeps us stuck in drama emotions, so to say. Yes. I want to say too much at the same time, but I give this to you for now.
Yeah.
I have one thing. So I was, my self-pity bonanza these past couple of days. So I was talking to a psychologist friend, and telling him about this, and and in not like self-piteous way, but I was talking about how I've been feeling self-pity, like in a meta-reflective way. That's, if you can do that, then you're fine. So, but it's still like a despicable thing to feel, and I really beat myself up about doing immoral things, so the things that I consider immoral, and this is one of those things. So he said he recommended this TED talk about unconditional positive regard. And he said that he had heard this woman talk about unconditional positive regard, and she had noticed that she didn't do that to herself. And she wanted to do it to her children, but she didn't do it to herself. So I've been sort of walking around here, and when I was feeling really sorry for myself, I figured I'll have this unconditional positive regard for myself in this moment. So I just like, it's fine. It's okay for me to feel this sorry for myself. It's okay for me to just say, I want. And I would like look at myself the way that I would look at a baby who is crying. It's not, you would never tell them like, shh, be quiet, it's annoying, You know, and that's the
And
kind of like, if it's difficult to discern what it means to love oneself, maybe unconditional positive regard is the key, one of the keys. You know, if you can,
Yes.
yeah, like it's.
but
So,
I also, sorry, I
yeah.
also believe that you actually stated it yourself, that when you are able to look at it from a meta point of view, then your awareness is involved, and then you can stay out of the drama about the self-pity. You just acknowledge yourself as a human being, and you can say, okay, so on a human level, I'm having the experience of self-pity. I see that it's going on, but I'm not going to indulge in it, or I'm not going to wreck my life because I feel so sorry for myself.
Oh.
And that's the distinction, and then you're doing the only thing that you can do, I think. I mean, you're allowing yourself to be that human. You can validate yourself for that, but then you still go on with life as the adult that you are, with your conscious awareness. I mean, that's double, but I mean, with your consciousness, with your full-blown consciousness.
So that's exactly. I mean, and I mean, frankly, it was like a matter of like a few hours. So it's not like it ruins the entire life. But what did I want to say? It's like it's a few hours, and you have this conscious awareness of what's going on.
The meta level. That you allow yourself to be human and not beat yourself in the.
Yes,
beat yourself up about it.
Yeah, and so I was also talking to my psychologist friend, and I'm like, so I think there's a connection here to, like, when I was a child, if I perceived that it wasn't okay for me to have these needs that I feel so much now. I need. And he goes, oh, that's possible. So I just said, as a psychologist, what's the solution? What do I do now? And then he just said, you feel all these feelings with unconditional positive regard. So, and that was because then, instead of just that was the best thing, because then it was like 1 second of extreme self-pity, and then it's and then it just goes, oh, right, that's how I feel right now. And you look around and like, oh, now I'm going to fix my wardrobe or sort out this thing.
Yes.
It's gone. Yeah.
Because you let it move. The Latin thing, emovere, emotion. You let the emotions just run, and you watch them with your consciousness, and they dissolve.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but it's so tough. Sorry. But on a human level, that can be so tough, because when the awareness is not there, we're stuck in the suffering, and then you stay there. So sometimes you need the outside help, or a good conversation, or journaling. But for me, that underlines the meaning that emotions have they have a message to tell. It's up to us to admit that we have them, and to see them, and to become aware, and in order to become aware, we sometimes need someone else, or the journaling, or because that's the whole journey. You cannot personally develop if you don't go through the process. We need the process in order to develop.
I think this is one of the key things that I'm learning this year, that it's not something we do. We don't do personal development in isolation. That we do it together, and we do it like we. And what I can give for you, you can give to me. When I'm strong, you are weak. The other way around. And this is like, it's this interplay of how we work things through together. And I think it's such a wonderful thing. I wish I had known ages ago, and it would have changed the way I relate to other people. I just wanted to be so perfect. It's so simple.
Yeah.
And that's a very important thing you say. You say, sorry, Joseph, just one thing, and then I give you the floor. What you say, I wanted to be so perfect. That's the thing. We were not ready to show up bare naked and put our asses on the line as we think so. And with bare naked and asses on the line, I actually mean like the mind kept us in our bubble of believing that it was okay to stay stuck in the head or something. Whereas now we're maturing, we're aging, we learn to speak the language of the soul, and then we know the importance of showing up, sharing, and exploring these emotions, and that the fact that you can usually not do that on your own, but you need another human being to shed the light on it. That's very interesting. I also wasn't ready in a way. I was ready to analyze it, but I wasn't ready to be vulnerable with it and to move through them. I wanted to learn to swim by reading a book, and nobody ever learns to swim just by reading the book. You have to get in the water and do it.
I think that's the key point, you know, with psychology and having a psyche and a psychological history, that, you know, these things that I read 25 years ago, you know, I've known these mechanisms. I've known them, and still I replay them. I replay it anyway. It's insane how difficult it is, and how disconnected the thought activity can be. And at the same time, the words and the thoughts, they can be such keys that just change everything in 5 seconds. But it's also, it's like this interplay is so interesting.
It's imperative. Joseph, sorry, we keep rambling.
No, but what you described, Miriam, is that's the hard thing, but also seems so easy. Also, that well, you've known this all the time, and suddenly you're doing it, and it's and that was it. You know, it was and some. You get stuck in something old, in this self-pity, and there's no way you can see out of that. That's why you need all these people that will allow you, you know, to love yourself, which is not partly of and also the other people say, well, of course you are worthy of it, you know, because you're wonderful, you know, and this perfect. Well, I've been into that also, you know, trying to be perfect. This is some kind of a picture that you have about being perfect, and of course that's a good feeling, but it doesn't belong to just what's now, you know. And then you need the possibility to open up and show yourself and to be naked, and it's not for a long time. But that really changes the whole thing, you know. And then you say for yourself, well, was that all?
Was
that all?
Yeah.
That I had to do?
Yeah.
And then you can go on looking in the cupboard, you know, and putting all these things, you know, looking. That's it, you know. You can leave all these things.
And besides, like, if I want to be perfect, who am I? How arrogant? Who am I to know what's perfect? As if I know what's perfect. I mean,
that's all constructs of the mind, all the ego construct. Like, oh, I believe if I do it according to that, then I must be perfect. And but it's just and
if I strive to be an ethical person, you know, like I said, I beat myself up when I feel I'm doing unethical things. So if I strive to be an ethical person, then this is the key to my progress, to understand that trying to be perfect is unethical because it is arrogant. I am putting myself in a position where I think that I know, and you know, so that's there's like I'm tricking myself by using my own mechanisms.
Yeah, it's a kind of grandiosity at play then.
It is. Yeah, and grandiosity, of course, comes from this loneliness, you know, and from lack of mirroring, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what you need. You need this mirroring because and somebody to hold space for you. So this it's so,
because you're perfect in
essence.
Like David Hawkins says that we move from perfection to perfection. So an old broken trash can is a perfect old broken trash can, and with a rose, you would never say that it was more perfect when it was a bud. Or when it's like slightly coming out, or when it's fully, or when it's withering. You know, you would never say now it's not perfect anymore. It is. It's always perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Still a lot to learn.
I know. And we only have a few minutes left here now, but there is a lot to learn. Yeah, there is a lot
it's a lot to learn, especially also when you're talking about these roles, but I'm thinking about this Governor Cuomo saying, about the old people, it's only them, they can die, they are withering, it's horrible when you can hear this kind of thinking, and lots of people also think like that, and that's sorry, but doing this, thinking that they are perfect, and then having a book and getting a prize for this, like he did. Okay, that's horrible.
It doesn't come from love, and it's not going to love,
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any parting words? What's like self-pity? Self-pity, how do we wrap things up now with like a few sentences each? I'm glad that I can say I felt self-pity. I'm glad that I have such good friends that I can tell them, I feel so sorry for myself right now.
Yeah. And we come into that also, this old feelings, me myself, I can feel it, that I'm getting into the self-pitying thing, I can feel it. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then I'm saying, but it's so easy to fall into it. It's a trap. And it's good to have its friends, because we are doing something that really helps ourselves to be perfect, and it's not a big effort actually to show yourself. It's not a big effort. We are feeling ashamed of it, sometimes, but it's not a big. It's nothing actually. Why should we be ashamed of it? No.
Friends help us, friends and peers, and we help each other remember that we are already perfect.
Yes, exactly. That's very nice.
And I believe so when we do what you just said, it immediately also dissolves those expectations, because when all is good, all is okay, perfect as it is, in essence, then there doesn't need to be friction between the expectations and the reality. And then you can just be, as you say, compassionate about others and situations, and the reality and yourself. So self-compassion versus self-pity. I think it's for me also with my meditation very important to practice it and to keep out of the self-pity. And when it happens, I mean, of course it happens, we're human, but to move away from it by understanding where it comes from and then show compassion to it, then it can dissolve, and that keeps me healthy instead of stuck.
Well, healthy and full. Like it's not we want to have fewer feelings, we want to have all of them. It's life.
Yeah.
We just don't want to drown.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time.